got an interesting video for you today. This video is going to be about why it's the right time to own a Volkswagen T1 or T2. This is of course a T2. It's not a split screen, it's a Type 2 1.6. I'm going to show you around the vehicle and then we're going to take it for a drive. I'm going to show you some of the things you should look out for when you look at the vehicle. What you need to know in regards to owning and driving the vehicle. So the main thing on these is rust. They're they're 40 odd years old. This is 46. So the main thing we need to think about is rust, and the underneath is the most important part. And I'm going to show you exactly where we need to look at. The main part is here. That seal there on both sides needs to be looked at. If you put your hand under and you pull away any of that seal area and it crumbles, then you're going to be looking at a good few £100 worth of work, at least 500 or 600 maybe. That doesn't mean you don't want to buy the vehicle. You want to have a good look at it, but you want to negotiate that within the price. Now, no matter how well maintained the vehicle is, you're always going to get new rust and bubbles and imperfections coming up like this and this. There's not much you can do about them here as well. Not much you can do about them. Don't let them put you off. Don't let them bother you. As long as your seals and your undercarriage is solid and it's been under sealed, then these little spots here and there can be fixed and touched up over time. So don't worry too much about them. Let's look at the driver's cabin. Now, people come into here for the first time, like I did a few months back actually, and they think, oh my god, it's a milk float, everything's going to be so heavy. The reality is, the clutch is one of the lightest clutches I've ever driven with. It takes no effort at all. It's extremely light. It feels like it's not doing anything, actually. The steering is, of course, unpowered, so it's heavy on parking and on very, very slow maneuvers, but not on everyday driving. You don't need to worry about it for like a motorway trip or anything like that. It's actually just the parking. Now, everything else is the same. The brake down here is your normal brake. These are drum brakes, most of them. They do not brake anything like modern vehicles. You have to actually really press hard if you want to brake hard. Otherwise you start braking earlier. The air fans cooling on these, they don't work. There's wires under there that are simply disconnected. The original stereo is ideal, but modern music just doesn't work with them, so lots of them have been upgraded. This here is the handbrake. Now this gets people really flustered. That handbrake is on right now and people go, oh my god, what do we do with it? There's no buttons or anything like that. What we do with this handbrake is simply we turn it and we push it forward and we let it go. So that's off now. The fan will roll, and to pull it on we just pull it back, turn it, push it forward, let it go, pull it, and it's on. Now, lots of people tell you when buying these fans that the gearbox is weird, the gear stick is weird even. It's really not. That's wrong. First gear is not up there. This is a H-gate gearbox. It is left and up, left and down, middle and up, middle and down. It's H-gate gearbox, normal H-gate gearbox, like if you were driving a Ferrari, although of course I don't want to compare this to a Ferrari. If you need to use reverse, clutch goes in, you press down, as in you put your weight down, you then go to the left, you then go down, and it slips into gear. Sometimes if it don't fully slip into gear, slightly release the clutch until it engages, and then you get into reverse. That part's simple. Everything else is very straightforward, self-explanatory. Indicators, lights, etc. Now always look under these mats here. These mats come up. You see bits of rust. There's bits of rust here, but nothing major. It's all surface. Always have a good look at that. If there's any holes in there, that will need to be repaired thoroughly. These seats are very dirty. They need good clean. I'm going to find and buy a product to clean them soon, or I'm going to completely replace them. I'll show you into the back. We've got our double seat there that turns into a bed. Always test it before you buy. Always make sure it pulls out. Mine's a bit stiff and a bit awkward, but it does work. So you take these pads off, you kind of rock and roll the bed out, and it goes back and it goes into a full double bed. The roof mechanism does work. You undo 4 roof latches and you push it up. It works well. This air sky light also works, that lets some fresh air in. Check all of these. This one doesn't work, this one does. It's just a bulb there. Have a good look at all of the anything that's in here. This is just a cupboard, basic cupboard. Under here actually is a toilet. There's you lift that and you lift that lid and there's a toilet. Not that I want anyone using the toilet in my bus. The curtains are nice. Check them out. They can be changed, but it's nice to have them ready for you. And then just have a good look around. Look in all the cubby holes. I haven't even looked in there. I don't even know what's in there. Just storage, I think. And that's about it for the actual fan. Check the roof thoroughly, as in push it up, check it, make sure there's no splits, make sure there's no gaps. It's ideal to check it in the rain, but you're not always going to get that opportunity. What we're going to do now is we're going to go for a drive. I'm going to set the camera up somewhere around here, and you'll be able to see people's reactions to the fan and the way it drives, and I'll show you that it's fairly straightforward. One of the first things you'll know about these fans, mine especially, is that sometimes it starts on the first turn and sometimes it doesn't. If it doesn't start on the first turn, don't hold the key for too long. 3 seconds, let it go, wait for a couple of seconds and then start again. 3-second bursts, that's all you need. You don't want to blow out the starting motor by holding it for too long. You don't want to flood the engine. So yeah, 2 or 3 seconds. And this one started straight away. This one actually starts less easily when it's warm. So, like I said earlier, round and in, make sure it's all the way in, and you'll see that the getting reverse down, left and up, little bit of clutch release and it clicks. Now we're in reverse. Always steer while you're still moving, that makes it easier. Now what you can't do in this vehicle is change gear too quickly.
it needs first and second gear a bit longer than you would expect it to, because it's a small engine in a very heavy vehicle. It's a 1.6 air-cooled engine in a very heavy vehicle. If you are pulling out in second like I just did, hold the clutch a bit longer, a bit more revs, and let it drive. Again, the car drives exactly like any other vehicle in many ways. I don't want people being put off if they're thinking about buying one. Now, why I think it's a good idea to own one now, especially if you're in central London or a city, is because actually it's very cheap. I pay no tax, the tax is free, compared to, I believe the tax on my Ford Transit was £55 a month, or £35 a month. I don't need to worry about MOTs every year. Of course I'll make sure that it's roadworthy, but I don't need to worry about MOTs. There's a difference. And the other thing is, my insurance for the year is £198 roughly. My insurance on my old Ford Transit was £1,200. It was £100 a month. Huge savings. Now, the most important part of this purchase for me is that this complies with the ultra low emission zone. That means it's free for me to go into the ultra low emission zone. Now, you might be wondering why. The reason why is because this is over 40 years old. This is 46. That means it's a historic vehicle. It does not count for the ultra low emission zone. Now, why this is more important at the moment in London is because I just bought this van in January for roughly 12 grand. In 2 years' time, the whole of London becomes an ultra low congestion zone. That means in 2 years' time, this van should be worth more money, because anyone who's out there looking to buy another vehicle will think, I've always wanted a historic vehicle. I've always wanted a Volkswagen or a camper or a Beetle, but I've never justified owning one. This is the time. They still run. These engines are one of the easiest engines to work on. They come out in minutes. Work on them on the bench and they go straight back in. Any upgrade you want for your cars and engines, you can get. You can get a great power steering that you control. You can get it for under £500. You can beef up your engine, you can get more speed, you can get more power, you can put a turbo in if you want. You can put a Porsche engine in if you want. It's fairly straightforward. Subaru 2.5 engine goes in fairly easily. You can do all the upgrades you want. However, I like my vehicle to be original in this current state. I'd like it to stay original. It's original engine, everything's the same. So I'm not going to mess too much, although I do consider the power steering sometimes. There's no self-cancelling indicators. You just have to remember, this van cruises at 60 to 70 mile an hour on the motorway. That's a gentle cruising speed, 60 or 70. It may actually go a bit more. But I very easily get this vehicle to 60 and 70 on a motorway without it being too shaky, let's say. I'm in third gear at the moment, cruising at 30. I've got plenty of power. I don't need to go to fourth. The mirrors are great, no issues there at all. Steering manoeuvres like that while on the move aren't an issue at all. You don't feel heavy steering, especially as the engine is in the back, so the weight is off the front wheels. It's only steady, in fact it's still maneuvering or very, very slow maneuvering that causes the problem. Now, one problem I get on a slight hill like I'm on now is the handbrake procedure is a bit annoying. Once you get used to it, it's fine. You can either be quick off the clutch and quick on the accelerator, or you can use the handbrake anyway, like I just did, and turn it as you're biting the biting point on the clutch, like you would any other vehicle. It's just a bit more awkward because it's forward. So turning's fine, one hand. Oh, there's a Volkswagen thing now, I'm not sure if you can see it. A thing convertible, lovely. Same engine, brilliant. Cruises over speed bumps, no issues there. Suspension components are cheap and cheerful. They're not hard to put on. Anyone can do it at home, or of course any decent mechanic. These vehicles are very easy to work on. I got a little stall there in second. Second likes a bit of power, but that's more my fault rather than the engine's fault. Now, one thing I found difficult when I first bought this was to get into first gear, you have to be still. For some reason it won't select first gear while moving, so now I cannot select first gear. I don't know if that's a trait of this vehicle or if it means that something's out of sync or out of line. The gearbox works perfectly in every other instance, it just doesn't select first while moving. Now that can stumble you a little bit sometimes, because you could be coming in a slow situation like this and you can think, should I be in second, should I be in first? If you then clutch in, going to neutral and think about going into first and the traffic pulls away, you think, oh my god, I've not got the power for second and I can't get into first, and you panic a bit. Actually, second's fine. You just need to use lots of revs. You can pull away in second if you need to. You just have to really get the revs up on the engine first. So here I'm practically stopped. I could go to first. You can pull away in second with lots of revs. As you would any other vehicle, there's no change there, there's no difference. I tell you how easy the vehicle is to drive. My sister passed her test 9 months ago. I put her in it 2 months ago when I first got it, and I said to her, you won't be able to drive this. I said, you actually won't like it, you'd find it horrible. And I'm not joking, she jumped in it and she drove it better than I do. Because I didn't tell her anything. I didn't say the gearbox is weird, I didn't say the clutch is weird. Well, not that it is. I didn't say the steering was heavy. I should have told her the brakes don't work like modern brakes. I should have given her that information. But I didn't on that occasion. The brakes aren't bad. You don't have to worry about the brakes. You just have to slightly adapt your driving to know that it takes a tiny bit longer to brake. A tiny bit longer. The van gets a lot of attention. Sometimes it's a bit overwhelming actually. Sometimes you forget what you're driving and you think, oh my god, what are you looking at? But then you realise that actually it's a baby blue Volkswagen T2 that's 46 years old driving around Camden. So I stay in first now, I'm not going to go second, there's no point. Now I go into second. one thing I should mention is that it's a 1.6 litre engine and a very heavy vehicle, as I've said, which means it eats quite a bit of petrol. Nothing to worry you. It's not stupid amounts of petrol. It's just more than I'm used to. My last van was a diesel. Still in second. Get the revs up, stay in second. Now I'm going to go to first here because I didn't know what was going on. If you don't like the gear system in your van, you can actually buy smoother ones. They're cheap. They're 65 quid and you bolt it in. It's got 2 screws. You could buy much more modern feeling shifters. Just make sure you keep the old one. People like these original. I may be upgrading to a more modern shifter soon. Maybe. I'm considering it. Makes me wish I was on a bike. 125? RS 125 on the left? It's not a 250, is it? Hen's teeth 250s. Hen's teeth. It's a 125. Smells great, that 2-stroke. The other reason this is the right time to have a T2 or any classic in central London, as long as it's over 40 because of the ultra low emission zone, is because most of the roads are 20 mile an hour. I'm not slowing down any vehicles, I'm faster than most. Oh, I want to get my bike out now. I want to get the Monster out, but it's got no back brake. All I've got is a puny little moped. reason I'm doing this video is to show people that there's a lot of scaremongering out there in regards to buying these vehicles. I think they are priced at the right price right now, and they're only going up in value. If you can get one like this that's very much rust free, it's only going to go up in value, plus you get the luxury of using it for a while. Yeah, made it. You get lots of people shouting at you, as in, you know, quietly. They say hello, they like the vehicle, they want to talk to you. It's okay, you can walk away quite quickly if you want, or you can stay and chat. It's not overwhelming. It's actually really quite nice. Oh, this traffic's horrible. Why you should have buy a T2 in London. Although, to be fair, if you're going to be stuck in anything, be stuck in something you can pull the bed out and go kip on. One hand steering, woo! No issue. Back down to the other street. Is that a dead end? Does that go down? No, that's a dead end. See, no first until you've completely stopped. There you go, this will work. No first until you're completely stopped again. You get used to it. No huge issue. Oh, Fiat 500s used to be cool. You ruined it. Ruined it. That's another car, an original Fiat 500. That'd be good now. So this is quite new for my channel, showing you my car. This is actually my everyday car. I don't have another one, although after insulting the Fiat 500 I actually do have access to one. I'm insured on my sister's one, and do irregularly use it. But this is my go-to vehicle when I need anything, shopping, just a trip out. This is what I jump in. What I'm looking to do on my channel is I've been trading up, selling motorbikes. If you haven't seen any of that, please click on that and have a look. please subscribe, it actually helps me out. And like any videos you do like. My plan is to buy some sort of vehicle that, a testing vehicle almost like this one, but something sporty, where I can buy it, I can spend my money on it, and I can let everyone out there know whether it's worth it or not. I'm thinking in my mind a Porsche Boxster, because for the kind of budget I'd be looking at, 3 to 4 grand, I'll get one of the cheaper Boxsters, and that will really let you know whether it's worth it or not. I can tell people what the servicing costs are, what the insurance costs are, tax, what they're like to run on a day-to-day basis. So my aim is to trade up enough bikes, nearly always sticking to my £300 max profit, nearly always sticking to that. Sometimes it's more hassle than it's worth, because sometimes when I'm selling a bike that I got cheap and I only add the 300 profit on, people don't buy it because they don't trust it. That's a long story, but generally I stick to a 250 to 300 pound profit on my bikes, and then I trade up to try and get the 3 to 4 grand to then buy the project car. If anyone has any preferences on what they'd like me to buy and try, then I'm always open to suggestions. I'm thinking Porsche Boxster, could also be Subaru Impreza, Mitsubishi Evo, Toyota MR2, Smart Roadster, anything that people think, you know, I've always wanted one and now they're getting cheap, but I'm just not sure if it's worth buying, because, you know, the maintenance cost might cost too much. So that's what I'm looking into. My partner's going away for 3 weeks soon, so I might use that as the opportunity to sneak out and buy whatever I'm buying. When we get back, I'm going to show you the engine. Of course, I'm going to forget it's hot and touch it. I don't know enough about the engines to really show you what to look for, but I know the main thing to check, and the general maintenance is within the paperwork. This vehicle came with lots of paperwork, lots of maintenance, although where it is right now I don't know. And it also came with a £6,000 respray not long before I bought it. Now that's a good and a bad thing, because, oh, into fourth there, see? Into fourth, but I caught it. That's a good and a bad thing, because sometimes people can spray to hide the rust. I don't think that's the case. I've checked the seals on this thing and they're rock solid. I know that this one's been undersealed for years, because the last owner had it 15 years and undersealed it always. But that's something you have to be aware of. When I was looking to buy one of these, I was put off by any rust spots at all. I walked away from them, and that's silly in hindsight. You're not going to find the perfect one, and if you do, it won't be perfect for long. So don't let 1 or 2 rust spots put you off. You can get them repaired. If I want to brake hard, I can. It is about stamping on the pedal. It doesn't hurt your legs. It's not a workout at all by any means. Distances in this thing are no problem at all, except for the slight concern, you know, that it's an old engine. That's always in your head. But get a breakdown cover, you know, for peace of mind. Any numpty mechanic, even the AA, can do what they need to do on engines like this. They're very straightforward if anything went wrong. I'm not a huge fan of the AA. I called the AA out some years back, and my car had overheated once, and the mechanic sat there and he kept overheating the car and then letting it cool down and then starting it up and overheating it again, cooling it down, until he blew the head gasket. And I had to pay £650 to get a new head gasket, and it was only when I replaced the head gasket and it still overheated that we realised that there was a simple blockage in the radiator that needed flushing out. I wrote to the AA, I complained, I said actually your mechanic came out, kept overheating the vehicle, no idea why he didn't do any other checks, just kept overheating it until bang, the head gasket went, smoke started coming up the back, and it cost us a hell of a lot of money. That's why I'm a little bit funny when I talk about the AA. I've never used them since, I won't easily use them. I prefer, I prefer Green Flag and the IC actually, although I haven't had to use them much. Staying in second, don't need to change down, use enough revs, let the engine rev up off the clutch, no issues. Same again, stay in second, don't worry about how slow you're going, you can pull away in second if you need to. Neutral, handbrake, engine. So we'll have a little look in the engine bay. I can show you a couple of things. Main thing we need to look out for, we need to pull this pulley, make sure it's not hot, pull it back towards you. There should be, it's a bit warm at the moment, but you pull it and you push it. There should be no play in that, or very little play, but really there should be no play. There is no play in this one. Now that's a upgraded coil. That's good. This could easily be running electric ignition, although I'm not sure, I haven't checked. I will check at some point. And that's about it. Otherwise your normal checks for an engine, oil down there. And like I said, people pop these engines out in minutes. You've got your normal battery in there, you've got your leisure battery there, you've got your hookup for if you're on a campsite, so that you can plug in your normal appliances. Airbox, it's an old oil bath airbox. I think I'm going to be upgrading to a, potentially up here, a you know, paper filament one. Potentially, I'm not sure, I'm in two minds. But yeah, that's the engine. And that's about it.
I've got one plug socket in here, down there, that works from a converter that's under the seat, and that's all I need really. I don't even really use it, if I'm being honest. You've got your lighter port there for charging the sat nav and, you know, your phones and stuff. Your fuse box is right there, you can see that under there, any fuses. They are old fuses, they're not modern fuses, so you need to keep a pack somewhere in case they blow. And that's about it. There's really not much to it. I just wanted to show you that you can drive this thing around. It looks nice. When you close the back door, notice that there's a gap there in the shut line. Lifting the handle up gets rid of that